Tommy Robinson, Melanie Shaw, Ben Griffin ex-SAS, Nigel Mumford ex-SAS. What do we have in common? Tommy Robinson, Melanie Shaw, Ben Griffin, and myself, Nigel Mumford. What have we all got in common? We all came from working class backgrounds, working class areas which were Labour controlled. And my father voted Labour and his father before him. Tommy Robinson was the first person I ever heard from exposing the Muslim rape gangs, predominantly Muslim rape gangs, giving alcohol and drugs to our children in Labour-controlled areas, selling them into prostitution. Our police didn't know. Our social workers didn't know. Our council workers didn't know. Labour councillors. Labour MPs didn't know. Or they all knew. But they didn't want to rock the boat because the Muslims, in general, vote for the Labour Party. So, very political. But it was our children. And Tommy Robinson was a hero to come out, put himself in danger, and expose these horrific crimes that if I lived in England, I'd be more than fighting against. And they wouldn't be getting out of jail either. But I'm a bit more right-wing than Tommy Robinson. Melanie Shaw, a poor woman. As a child, she's put in a home, again, in care by the local authorities and social services. Labour-controlled areas. And there she was, physically, mentally, sexually abused in a care. The children were given out as presents, chocolate drops to fucking paedophiles. And everybody knew. The police knew. And what have they done to stop what she's exposed? Nothing. They locked her away in Rampton to hide the truth, to hide the facts, because it exposed all these Labour people. When my father voted Labour, it was not for Antifa, communists, far left. It was for the working man. Labour Party have abandoned the working man and gone for these radicals. You've got to stop voting Labour. Ben Griffin. The Labour government sent myself into Northern Ireland and Ben Griffin into Iraq and served in Iraq to dispose a dictator, Saddam Hussein, who was torturing his own people and killing them. And Ben Griffin had to nightly go out, arrest people. And if you watch Ben Griffin's story, it's horrific what he had to do to these families, break up families, take the many innocent people into interrogation centres and tortured, physically tortured and mentally tortured. And our British government knew. The class system knew and encouraged it. But as an individual SAS soldier, what could he do? Nothing. A black sheep. So the only thing he could do was state he wasn't going to work there anymore and he wanted out of the SAS. After working so hard to be in the B Company 2 Para, which I was in, as a coincidence. 30 years before Ben, I was in B Company 2 Para. And I served, unlike him, I served in the 23rd Parachute Field Ambulance. And you can hear about my story on the BBC, Nigel Mumford, the Ballymurphy Massacre, where the class system again, the police, forged my signature and made statements that I was supposed to make, which I never made, and a signature that was blanked out. Not a signature belonging to me. This is the deep state. As a working class person, I'm saying, I was asked to plant ammunition on the wounded and dying. I said no. That was my crime. Had I said yes and been one of the sheep, I would have got promotion. But I know right from wrong. I says, no, I'm not going to plant ammunition on people. Then, after that incident, I'm going to say, I'm a black sheep. I'm labelled. I won't do what the system tells me. When Liam Holden was arrested and sentenced to death for murder, I was kept away from his trial because my evidence would have proved he was totally innocent. Again, a Corporal Hill, Yorkie Hill, talk about stolen valor. He stated that he ran up to the wounded soldier, Private Francis Bell, gave him first aid, protected him, and dragged him into safety. Hold on. That was fucking me. That was me. I would say, that was stolen valor, if you've ever heard of stolen valor. And what did he get out of it? For sticking it up Liam Holden, he got promoted. And an officer at that. And he didn't have to join the SAS like everybody else. He got a free ticket into the SAS. So, the British deep state, perjury, the perjury that's happening in these trials, the Birmingham 6, the Guildford 4, is perjury not a crime anymore? I'm listening to what's happening in the Ballymurphy massacre. Mind you, both sides are committing perjury. And the poor judge has got to decide which is the best liar. It's incredible. The British law and system is totally fucked. And the United Nations now say British soldiers ought to be prosecuted. Who are the army in the world? What are the government in the world are prosecuting their soldiers 48 years after an incident? Only the stupid British. United Nations, fuck off. We need an amnesty. I'm quite open, an amnesty for everybody in the Troubles. Let's get it over with. And if they started again, never a British soldier set foot in Northern Ireland. Let them get on with it. It's an Irish problem. And if the Scottish want to kick off with nationalism, let them leave the United Kingdom. They want to be, the hardcore nationalists, and they want to be in Europe, which is anti-nationalist. There's no logic to it all. Anyway, because of what's happened to me, and I was called a liar by the Ministry of Defence and a murderer by the IRA lawyers in the Ballymurphy massacre, I'm the first British soldier ever to apply for political asylum. In my opinion, the mainstream media, the deep state, Freemasons, they're all one. As an individual, I can't fight against them. Only if the British people bring down the system of Conservative and Labour and vote in a new type of government, like UKIP, Tommy Robinson even, and Brexit, to bring down the deep state. An individual cannot win. But if anybody ever needs the help in the future, I'm quite prepared to help. Expose the deep state. I'm so embarrassed about the British government that I'm quite happy to take political asylum from Russia. I think they're more democratic now than the British. This photo that I've put on the video, I talked about it previously, how I was sent to Fort Kill on my own, no radio, no backup. The hottest area in Northern Ireland. Before, I thought it was just officer stupidity. But after being involved in the inquest of the Ballymurphy massacre, I realised it was no accident. They tried to get rid of me because I could give evidence against the British government at the Ballymurphy massacre and also the crime of getting Liam Holden sentenced to death. So now I realise this and two other incidents where I was shot at by an officer were not accidents. I was a danger to the officer corps and the class system.